The spreading darkness, the great crystal spires of Lyrian Prime had stood for over 10,000 years, their surfaces reflecting the gentle light of twin suns across a world where disease was nothing more than a distant memory. The Lyrians had conquered illness centuries ago, their advanced medical technology eliminating everything from common infections to genetic disorders. Their healing chambers could regenerate entire limbs. Their bioscanners could detect cellular damage before it even manifested symptoms. But now, as High Healer Morthic stood in the pristine medical facility that had never seen a patient it couldn't cure, he felt something he had never experienced before. Complete helplessness. Princess Zara Velenarthi lay motionless on the biobed, her normally luminescent blue skin now a sickly grey. The elegant ridges along her forehead, which should have pulsed with the soft inner light that marked her royal lineage, remained dark and lifeless. Her breathing was shallow, irregular, and with each passing hour, the mysterious illness that had already claimed millions across 7 different worlds tightened its grip on her young body. The neural pathways are deteriorating faster than we can repair them, Morthic reported to Commander Jexstar, who stood vigil beside the princess. The commander's own skin had begun to show the first signs of the plague, tiny dark spots that appeared like scattered stars across his silver complexion. "How long?" Jexstar asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Perhaps 2 days, maybe less." Morthic's admission hung in the air like a death sentence. In 3 days, the void sickness had spread to over half the planet's population. Their medical technology, so advanced it seemed like magic to most species, was utterly useless against this new enemy. The plague had appeared first on the mining world of Kethmara, where it consumed the entire population in a matter of weeks. Then it jumped to the trade hub of Velenaros, turning the bustling spaceport into a ghost town. Each world it touched became a graveyard, and each time, the best medical minds in the galaxy arrived too late to do anything but watch civilizations crumble. "Sir," a young technician approached nervously. "The Galactic Medical Consortium has sent their final report. They're calling it incurable and recommending planetary quarantine." Jexstar's hand moved instinctively to his sidearm. "They want to abandon us. The human delegation is requesting an audience," the technician continued. "They claim to have a possible treatment." Morthic scoffed. "Humans. Their medical technology is primitive at best. They still use chemical compounds and plant derivatives. What could they possibly offer that our quantum bioregeneration systems cannot accomplish?" Through the medical bay's transparent walls, they could see the human ship settling onto the landing pad. It was a modest vessel, nothing like the massive medical frigates that had arrived and departed in defeat over the past few days. This ship looked more like a research station than a hospital, with sensor arrays and what appeared to be some kind of botanical laboratory visible through its windows. Dr. Sarah Chen emerged from the ship, carrying a simple metallic case and wearing clothes that looked like they had been stained with soil and plant matter. She was young for a human, perhaps in her early 30s, with dark hair pulled back in a practical ponytail and eyes that held both determination and exhaustion. Behind her followed a small team of human researchers, each carrying equipment that looked almost primitive compared to the gleaming medical devices surrounding them. "I'm Dr. Sarah Chen," she announced as she entered the medical bay, not waiting for formal introductions. "I've been studying the plague samples from the infected worlds. Your people are dying because you're trying to fight this with technology. But this isn't a technological problem." Morthic bristled at the human's directness. "Dr. Chen, We have the most advanced medical systems in the galaxy. We can manipulate matter at the quantum level, rebuild cellular structures from base proteins, and none of it works. Sarah interrupted, moving directly to Princess Zara's bedside. She opened her case and withdrew a small scanning device that looked like it belonged in a museum compared to the Lyrian equipment. Because this plague isn't just attacking the body, it's attacking the connection between consciousness and cellular structure. Your quantum systems are too precise, too clean. They can't address the chaotic nature of what's happening here. She ran her primitive scanner over Zara's body, frowning at the readings. The plague creates a resonance cascade that disrupts bioelectrical patterns. Your healing technology tries to restore order, but it's like trying to calm a storm by building a perfect glass house in the middle of it. Commander Jexter watched the human work with growing skepticism. And your primitive medicine can succeed where our technology cannot. Sarah looked up at him with tired eyes. Sometimes the best way to fight chaos is with controlled chaos. Earth medicine works because it's messy, unpredictable, and adaptive. We don't try to impose perfect order, we work with the body's natural tendency to heal itself. She withdrew a small vial filled with a thick green liquid that seemed to shimmer with an internal light. This is extracted from a fungus that grows in Earth's deepest ocean trenches. It's been exposed to thermal vents, crushing pressure, and radiation that would kill most organisms. But it doesn't just survive, it thrives by constantly adapting to chaotic conditions. Morphic examined the vial with obvious distaste. You want to inject an alien fungus into the heir to the Lyrian throne. I want to give her immune system the tools it needs to fight back, Sarah replied. This extract doesn't cure the plague directly, teaches the body how to adapt to it, how to maintain stability in the face of chaos. The medical bay fell silent except for the soft hum of life support systems. Princess Zara's breathing had become more labored, and the monitors showed her cellular integrity continuing to decline. Time was running out. The Galactic Medical Consortium has protocols, Morphic said finally. Experimental treatments must be approved by the Galactic Medical Consortium has already given up, Sarah said firmly. They've written off your entire planet, but I've seen this work before. She pulled out a datapad and showed them footage from a human colony ship that had encountered the plague 3 months earlier. The UES Endeavour, 5,000 colonists infected with the same plague. We lost 800 people before I developed this treatment, but the remaining 4,200 survived. The extract doesn't just cure the plague, it makes the immune system stronger, more resilient. Jextar studied the data, his expression unreadable. Why didn't you share this with the consortium? Because they wouldn't listen, Sarah replied. They see our medicine as primitive, just like you do. They couldn't accept that sometimes the best solution is the simplest one. The princess stirred slightly, a soft moan escaping her lips. Her condition was deteriorating rapidly, and everyone in the room could see that they were approaching the point of no return. If we do nothing, she dies, Jextar said quietly. If your treatment fails, she dies. But if it works, we can save your world, Sarah finished. But I need your permission. I need you to trust that sometimes the universe's most elegant solutions come from the most unexpected places. Morphic looked at his instruments, then at the dying princess, then at the human who stood before him with dirt under her fingernails and hope in her eyes. Every instinct told him to refuse, to stick with proven technology and established protocols. But proven technology had failed, and established protocols had abandoned them. Do it, he said finally. Sarah nodded and loaded the extract into a simple injector that looked almost toy-like compared to the sophisticated medical devices surrounding them. The treatment works in stages, she explained as she prepared the injection. First, there will be an initial inflammatory response as her immune system encounters the fungal extract. Then, if it works, the extract will begin teaching her cells how to maintain stability despite the plague's interference. She looked at Jextar and Morthic with grave seriousness. The next few hours will be critical. Her body is going to fight not just the plague, but the cure as well. It's going to look like she's getting worse before she gets better. With steady hands, Sarah administered the injection. The green liquid disappeared into Zara's bloodstream, and for a moment, nothing happened. Then the monitors began to show changes, not improvements, but a different kind of deterioration. Her temperature spiked, her heart rate became erratic, and her breathing grew even more labored. "What's happening?" Jextar demanded. "Her immune system is learning," Sarah replied, watching the readings carefully. "It's like teaching someone to swim by throwing them into deep water. Dangerous, but effective." The next few hours passed in tense silence. Sarah remained at Zara's bedside, monitoring her condition with equipment that seemed laughably primitive compared to the Lyrian technology, but somehow provided readings that the advanced scanners missed. Morthic found himself reluctantly impressed by the human's understanding of biological systems, even if her methods seemed chaotic and unscientific. As the night wore on, other patients began arriving Lyrians in various stages of infection, including several members of the ruling council. Word had spread about the human doctor and her experimental treatment, and desperate families were bringing their loved ones to the medical center. Asterisk. "We need to expand production," Sarah said, examining her dwindling supply of extract. "If this works, we'll need enough to treat the entire planet. And if it doesn't work?" Morthic asked. Sarah looked at him with quiet determination. "Then, we'll have tried everything possible, but it's going to work. I've seen the strength of the human spirit overcome impossible odds before, and I've seen how that strength can inspire others. Your people are fighters, just like mine. Sometimes that's enough." As dawn approached, Princess Zara's vital signs began to stabilize. The chaotic readings on the monitors started to form patterns, and her breathing became more regular. But the real test was yet to come. Asterisk, the miracle of Earth, the first sign of change came at sunrise. Princess Zara's skin, which had been grey and lifeless for days, began to show the faintest hint of its natural blue luminescence. The change was so subtle that the advanced Lyrian scanners didn't detect it, but Sarah's simple visual examination caught it immediately. "She's fighting back," Sarah whispered, her voice filled with cautious hope. Morthic leaned over his instruments, studying readings that showed cellular activity unlike anything in their medical databases. The neural pathways are not just stabilizing, they're strengthening. But the bioelectrical patterns are completely different from normal Lyrian physiology. "That's exactly what we want," Sarah explained. "The extract isn't trying to restore her original cellular structure. It's teaching her body to develop new pathways that can coexist with the plague. Instead of fighting the chaos, she's learning to use it." By midday, the transformation was undeniable. Zara's eyes fluttered open, and for the first time in 3 days, they held awareness and intelligence. The ridges on her forehead began to pulse with a soft, steady light, not the same pattern as before, but something entirely new. "Where am I?" she asked, her voice weak but clear. "You're safe," Jextar said, his own voice breaking with emotion. The human doctor saved you. Zara turned her head to look at Sarah, who was sitting in a chair beside the bed, exhaustion evident in every line of her body. You're the one who gave me the treatment. I just gave your body the tools it needed, Sarah replied. You did the fighting. As news of the princess's recovery spread, the medical center was flooded with new patients. Sarah's small team worked tirelessly to produce more extract, but their supplies were limited. They needed to find a way to mass-produce the treatment. And fast. Dr. Kethba, a respected Lyrian biochemist who had initially dismissed human medicine as primitive, found himself working alongside Sarah to analyze the fungal extract. This is remarkable, he admitted, studying the compound under a quantum microscope. The molecular structure is constantly shifting, adapting to whatever environment it encounters. That's why it works, Sarah explained. Most medicines are designed to have a specific effect on a specific target. But this extract is like a biological teacher. It shows the immune system how to be flexible, how to adapt to new threats. Working together, they developed a process to synthesize the extract using Lyrian biomanufacturing technology. The combination of Earth's organic wisdom and Lyrian precision created something neither species could have achieved alone. As the treatment became available to more patients, the results were extraordinary. Not only did people recover from the plague, but they developed a resilience that protected them from reinfection. Their immune systems had learned to dance with chaos rather than fight it. Ambassador Tuora, the Lyrian diplomatic representative, established direct communication with Earth's government. We owe humanity a debt that can never be repaid, she said during the first formal diplomatic contact between the two species. You saved our world when our own technology failed us. Captain Rivera, the human military officer who had coordinated the relief mission, worked with Lyrian engineers to establish production facilities on multiple worlds. This is just the beginning, he told Sarah as they watched ships loaded with the extract depart for plague-stricken worlds throughout the galaxy. We're not just curing a disease. We're proving that cooperation between species can accomplish what isolation never could. The success on Lyrian Prime led to a revolutionary change in galactic medicine. The rigid, technology-focused approach that had dominated for centuries was replaced by a more flexible philosophy that combined the best of multiple worlds' healing traditions. Human botanical knowledge was integrated with Lyrian quantum biology, creating treatments that were both sophisticated and adaptable. Princess Sarah, now fully recovered but forever changed by her experience, became an advocate for this new approach. The plague taught us that perfection can be a weakness, she said in her first public address after recovery. Sometimes the most beautiful solutions come from embracing imperfection, from learning to work with chaos rather than against it. Sarah remained on Lyrian Prime for several months, establishing a research center that would continue developing Earth-based treatments for alien diseases. But her work there was just the beginning. Requests for human medical assistance poured in from across the galaxy, as species that had once dismissed Earth's primitive medicine began to recognize its unique value. The plague that had threatened to destroy entire civilizations ultimately became the catalyst for unprecedented cooperation between species. Human researchers worked alongside alien scientists, sharing knowledge and techniques that had been developed in isolation for millennia. The result was a new era of medical advancement that benefited everyone. Dr. Kethva, who had become one of Sarah's closest collaborators, established the first interspecies medical academy. We learned that diversity is not just valuable, it's essential, he said at the academy's opening ceremony. The universe is vast and unpredictable, and Our solutions must be equally diverse and adaptable. As Sarah prepared to return to Earth, she stood in the medical center where she had first administered the extract to Princess Sarah. The facility had been transformed into a symbol of interspecies cooperation, with human botanical gardens growing alongside Lyrian quantum laboratories. "Will you come back?" Zara asked, joining Sarah in the garden where Earth plants grew under alien suns. "I'll come back," Sarah promised. "But more importantly, others will come. This is just the beginning of what we can accomplish together." The plague had been defeated, but its legacy lived on in the bonds forged between species and the knowledge that the universe's greatest challenges could be overcome through cooperation, creativity, and the willingness to embrace unconventional solutions. Years later, as Sarah worked in her laboratory on Earth, she received regular reports from the Interspecies Medical Academy. New treatments were being developed every day, combining the wisdom of dozens of different worlds. The galaxy had learned a crucial lesson. Sometimes the most powerful medicine comes not from the most advanced technology, but from the willingness to trust in the strength of life itself. The human species, once considered primitive by galactic standards, had proven that intelligence comes in many forms, and that the courage to try unconventional solutions in desperate times could save not just individual lives, but entire civilizations. The story of the void sickness became legend throughout the galaxy, not just as a tale of medical triumph, but as proof that in the vast chaotic universe, hope often comes from the most unexpected places, carried by those brave enough to believe that there is always another way, always another chance, always another possibility waiting to be discovered. Asterisk.